Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, today is just oh my god, you guys. It's the very first episode of the Soul Sanctuary pod. I'm kind of nervous. I'm not sure why. I'm kind of nervous, but that's how all good things are for me. So I'm going to be doing this podcast every week. We're definitely going to be expanding on this podcast, but I kind of just want to start with a weekly pod every Tuesday. I will be going live in the mornings on Tuesday. So first and foremost, the whole premise of this was a realization that I had. It's time for me to more deeply step into my actual purpose, which is helping people. Helping people, not just helping one person at a time, but allowing us to build a larger community from which we can all become truly empowered members of this community, and we can help each other empower ourselves as well as each other. So, this is how it's going to work. I go live every week, and you guys can share whatever you want in the comments. The more vulnerable, the better. At the end of every live stream, every podcast, I'm going to be looking at the comments, and I'm going to quietly select one comment that really, really touches me. And that's what the next week's topic is going to be. So it's basically, hey, the more you comment, the more likely I will see your comment and choose that sometime. And all you have to do is show up the following week to see what I talk about. Who knows? It could be me offering, I don't know, potential solution for whatever you're struggling through. And here's what I realized. We all pretty much struggle through basically the same things. They're universal lessons that we struggle through. And this is our opportunity to really, really come together and learn together. Now, I want to make it clear. I think you're strong enough to learn by yourself. That doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. That doesn't mean you have to continue to feel so alone in this world. We've already established a community here. This community can become even more powerful, even more supportive. It can become a community that serves as a soul sanctuary. This is just the first step in what my purpose is in this life. Okay. I know I've been dragging my feet. I know I've been dragging my feet. That's okay. You guys know it takes me a while to get comfortable with things and environments and whatnot. And it took me a little bit. Okay. Now I'm here. So what we're going to do today, since it's the very first, why is my head covering looking so weird? I don't know. Okay. What we're going to do, you guys can ask me whatever you want to learn, whatever questions you might have about me and my journey, or maybe questions about you. Now, we're not doing readings. This is really an opportunity for all of us to just ask questions. You know what I mean? Just ask questions. Ask. Who wants to go first? We got to let peeps pile in. What's that mean? Like, give them time to arrive? Ooh, here's a good one. Ooh. How to detach from something that hurts you and consistently grabs your awareness. You know that it's happening, yet it still tugs on the awareness. Ooh. That's a really, really good question, Mr. E. So something that tugs on your awareness is something you need to pay attention to. It's not about detachment. In that case, my opinion is trying to detach from that is basically a form of avoidance. You need to allow yourself to fully immerse into it. Really just go all the way deep, marinate in that. Now, marinating in that type of intense awareness of something painful is going to make it even more painful. But like they say, the healing is usually more painful than the injury itself. It's still healing. Okay? It's something that is very challenging, and when you allow yourself to be challenged in that way, the rewards when it comes to your growth, excuse me, ooh, it'll be profound. It'll be tremendous. This realization is the very thing that empowered me to no longer be crushed by such a challenging life. Those who have a high calling, we tend to live a very heavy life. Okay. Our energy feels very light to other people, but it feels light because we keep much of that density and that pain buried deep inside. Sometimes in the witnessing of you processing that pain, you're actually gifting people with the gravity that they need. You know what I mean? Like many of us are kind of just floating along in life and not really understanding what's going on in life. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're doing bad or you're behind or anything like that. It just means you need a shift in perspective. And that shift in perspective is what's going to gift you a different type of experience as you begin to process the things that need to be processed. That was a really good question. I love that. How old were you the first time Michael communicated with you? Uh, Michael's been with me my entire life. For much of my life, I have assumed that Archangel Michael was a demon. It still cracks me up. He's always been around. I always thought he was some sort of demonic entity. And I first realized it was actually Archangel Michael uh, in 2000. I think the year was 2000. Or was it 2001? No, 2000. In 2000. I went through something really, really intense, and I ended up in the ER. uh, and that's when I actually saw Michael, like fully saw Michael, because it was such an intensely painful experience that whatever avoidance I was able to do much of my life, I wasn't able to do it then. And I actually saw Michael, but it took several more years for me to allow myself to understand the gravity of his presence in my life. You know what I mean? I assumed that when I saw him in 2000, and I couldn't pretend he was a demon at that point. I just assumed it was because I was basically having a near-death experience. And then in 2010, that's when I really understood the gravity of what he's there to do for me in my life, the type of protection that I actually have, you know? So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Did you ever feel like you were supposed to be alone through this because it was necessary? I feel like that now. I feel like that now. I'm not allowed to partner up with anyone, like projects and things like that. And it's not Michael telling me that I'm not allowed to partner up. That's my higher self letting me know that, I'm here to do things kind of a solo mission. Um, it's uncomfortable, but the more I allow myself to kind of accept that, and step away from this place of hesitation, because I'm afraid, like, what if I mess up? What if I don't do it right? What if what I do is not enough? The more I step away from that and kind of just do it, the less I struggle with the realization and acceptance of doing things alone. So a lot of people who have a very high purpose, like when I say high purpose, I don't mean that you're better than anyone else. I mean that your primary objective in this lifetime is to help facilitate through your existence the way humanity is going to further its evolution, consciousness evolution, awareness expansion. You have a tendency to have to do things alone. Part of the reason for that is because those of us who have that type of purpose, that function, we get a lot of attention from demonic things. That's just the reality of it. We get a lot of attention from demonic things. And if you're consistently being watched and, followed by demonic things, no matter how pure you live your life, those who are closest to you will be accessed by these demonic things in an attempt to access you, kind of like a Trojan horse. So that's just how I've seen my life play out. Whenever I try and partner up, that's what ends up happening. I'm learning my lesson. I'm learning my lesson. 77% at 343. What? Okay, let's see. How do you learn to receive more as an overgiver? There's this practice that I had to do for some time. It's simply holding my hand out like this. That's it. Just leaving my hand open. Sometimes I'll feel my hand begin to tingle, and that's when I know my soul is placing something else in my grasp. That's not me asking or taking, that's me receiving. It's okay for you to give. It's not okay for you to overgive. It's not okay for you to deplete yourself and rob all the people who are waiting for you to step into your actual power and purpose. You're robbing them of what you promised you would do for them by overgiving to someone who doesn't need to receive from you in the depth that you're trying to give. Just because you're trying to give, it does not mean the person you're giving to has the willingness or capacity to receive what you're giving. We have to begin understanding the overgiving is your prepayment to coexist in the same space as the person you're giving to. You don't have to pay to exist. Not in that way. Not anymore. Start having these conversations with yourself. Don't attack yourself. Don't shame yourself, but start recognizing when you're doing this, who makes you feel like this, the type of mindset, attitude, behaviors, the people who make you feel like this have. Identify those characteristics. So when you come across it again, you're not simply repeating the same cycles. Okay? Let's see. What does Michael look like? Michael can look like many things. Michael can look like many things. He'll basically take whatever form you're most comfortable with. If you subscribe to the religious visuals that you're usually taught, he can look like that. He can have very delicate yet manly features. He looks very I was going to say ambidextrous. This is not ambidextrous. Michael looks very androgynous, like a masculine female or a feminine male. Very androgynous. Because Michael has both energetic genders. He has both. So are you asking about hair color and eye color? Michael's pretty, handsome, pretty. He gets like weirded out when I talk about stuff like that. Let's see. Let us see. Anyone else? I wouldn't say amorphic, because he tends to well, I'll just leave it at that. gender is a human construct. You know, it's a human construct. So does the soul have a gender? Well, it has a positive and a negative charge, just like atoms will have protons and electrons. And depending on, the ratios, that's what's going to determine the charge. I have this theory, and I fully accept whatever people identify as their gender. I don't feel like it's any of my business to first demand to know what you identify as, and then to condemn you or make any type of personal judgment on what you choose for yourself. So first and foremost, that's my personal stance. But I have this theory that people who have kind of like, I forget what it's called. It's some sort of dysphoria. I don't know if it's gender dysphoria or I don't remember now. But I feel like sometimes we'll be aware of a greater feminine or masculine charge within us. And then we're born in a physical body that doesn't match that charge. And so we'll identify more as one or the other, which is fine. I'm very feminine, but I have a very masculine energy. And for a portion of my life, I thought I was having a gender identity crisis. I know that I'm not transgender. Okay. I don't identify as a man. I'm more drawn to masculine energy. When it comes to feminine energy, I'm more like, I want to nurture and cater to that more. Not cater, but nurture and protect that more. But I know I have both genders in me, energetic genders. If you look at the written works in, like, say, the three initiates, that what did they write? The no, no, Kybalion. I'm sorry, my brain is in overdrive right now. Kybalion. They talk about the different hermetic principles and transmutation and all of that wonderful stuff. It talks about the genders in there as well. This is not a new subject matter. There's really nothing new under the sun, including technology. There's not. So does the soul have a gender? Yes. Is it both? Yes. Yes, it's both. Did you ever feel like you had to stand alone against the world no matter what? All the time. Literally. All the time. I will consistently go through cycles where, believe it or not, I get ostracized a lot. I do. I get ostracized a lot by various groups. I don't care. I used to care, simply because I've never fit in anywhere. I've never, well, aside from this environment with you guys, this is the first time in my life where I feel at home, where I feel like I fit in. But outside of that, yeah, no matter how welcome I am into any group, I just don't feel like I belong. I feel like I'm an outsider, a visitor, a guest. And it usually, and I don't know if it's just, because I've had a traumatic life, it usually ends up with me having to take a stand against the entire group. And I don't feel like I'm being victimized or picked on. I feel like all of those experiences, especially early in life, because I've been like this pretty much my whole life, where I don't care how many of y'all are going to gang up on me. I don't care if I'm smaller than everybody. I'm not giving in to nothing. Like when I've had enough, I've had enough. I'm not giving in. I'm not backing down. I don't care what happens. I'm working on that. But I've had that existing as part of my character and personality for my entire life. And so I don't know if it's just another trauma response that I need to still work through. But eventually, if I try and stay even in the fringes of a group that I don't really belong with, which is pretty much every group, that's what ends up happening. So I've learned to kind of just stay in the fringes, keep very quiet in the background, just quietly observe, be very respectful, don't cause any waves, don't share any opinions, just nod and agree. And I mean, do we want to live like that? Because I learned that I didn't want to anymore. Nor did I want to stand alone. I think I finally entered a place in my journey where I just want to sit for a moment, just kind of sit under the shade of a tree and really digest the life that I've consumed so far. I've taken in so much from life, but have I allowed myself to digest what I've taken in? So hopefully, as we go on this journey together through this soul sanctuary, we can begin recognizing the things that we've taken in, what was compatible with us, what isn't compatible with us and needs to be released, and really begin digesting and no longer existing in this place within ourselves where we feel we have to stand alone against the world. One of the things I'm learning still, the world is not out to destroy me. The world sometimes will be allowed to attempt to destroy the parts of me that are not in alignment with my purpose. Ooh, let that sink in. Really let that sink in. Is the world trying to destroy you? Or is it simply challenging your desire to hold on to parts of you, your trauma responses, and things like that really are not necessary? You've outgrown that place. You've left that emotional house, but you want to pull it along with you. And then here come the people of the world with their sledgehammers swinging. And we think they want to destroy us, but in reality, we're just standing in the way of the organized, intentional deconstruction of the structures we erected as a way to protect ourselves. Now, some people might be like, why would we need to do that? Like, we built it. Why would they destroy it? Because they're condemned emotional houses. They're no longer inhabitable. I was having a conversation with someone really important to me one night. And, this person was like, it's like my past haunts me. I said, well, why do you keep living in that emotional house? It's a memory. When you move to a different house, the haunting remains in the old house. You can visit that once in a while, but you don't choose to live there. Move to a different emotional house within yourself. And again, sometimes the things that we construct for ourselves, these thought forms, these expectations, societal structures, we create these things to protect ourselves at one point in our life. And when we become too efficient with building these walls of protection, we then sometimes wake up and realize we're entombed. We've imprisoned ourselves. Sometimes we need a little help to deconstruct that. And, when the world comes at us, we have to see it for what it is. And if you don't know what it is, you have to pause and make sure you understand what needs to be understood before you move forward. Okay? Let's see. So, yes, an organic portal. What's the difference between a Trojan and an organic portal? Is it just a lack of a soul? A Trojan is a person who is used to access you because a demonic thing cannot access you. It can't breach you. Your defenses are maybe too strong. Maybe you're paying too close attention. Maybe you're too heavily protected. And so what a Trojan is an individual who will be used to trigger you. And what is this triggering? A huge dip in frequency. When you get very charged with a lesser, more dense emotion, your frequency will drop. It will just, it'll rebound. But in that moment where it drops, you're susceptible to parasitic breach. And so that's what a Trojan is used for. Now, are people who are used as Trojan evil? Most of them don't realize they're being used as a Trojan. Trojans are individuals who are not fully secure, fully anchored in themselves. They tend to be the people who have identity struggles. They don't know who they are. They're still trying to play a role. They're very easily influenced by society and their environment. These tend to be people who are consistently being rushed, consistently frustrated, disappointed, all of these things. Because when you have those situations existing within you, um, it usually indicates that you have pockets of voids within you, like emptiness, pockets of emptiness. And that's what a demonic thing can occupy. Now, an organic portal is just, it's a meat suit. You know, have you ever met someone who you just take one look at them and you're kind of like, I'm not even going to explain. It's just, yeah. Organic portals don't have souls. It's hypothesized by quite a few people that the world's population, over 7 billion, I think we're approaching 8 billion at this point, about 70% of that are organic portals. That's a lot. It's a lot. That's okay. They're still human beings. That's okay. Organic portals, they will not progress. They just won't. They won't. They don't have the ability to. What they do have an ability to do is mimic. They need to be around the type of people that they're trying to emulate. So they can copy your mannerisms, your thought forms, the way you communicate, the words you use, the subject matter you talk about. Organic portals are basically car rentals. Anyone can rent them. They don't know this, and they'll probably vehemently deny that they're an organic portal. I don't know if you want to get into an argument with one. Many narcissists are organic portals. And these organic portals that have narcissistic behavioral patterns, they tend to be used as Trojans to lower your frequency. So they kind of are different, but they also kind of work synergistically to facilitate parasitic attempts to breach your field. Now, some might be like, well, Emmie, why don't you just kill the parasite? First, I'm not a murderer in this life, remember? That's previous life, not this life. Secondly, anything that still serves a purpose for the greater good is allowed to continue to exist. If it exists, it was allowed to. Why would parasites be allowed to exist? Trauma-induced accretion. Whatever you choose not to learn in the classroom of light, you will be gifted a parasitic, demonic tutor. Not to teach you the dark arts, but to trigger you to learn the things that you wouldn't learn when you were simply asked in a nice way. So Trojans, portals, demons, parasites, you know, they all go hand in hand. Let's see. Let's look. Ooh. Enough is enough situations are also my response. The pet peeve is emotional manipulation. I cannot stand emotionally manipulative people. I cannot stand it. You know, one thing I'm trying to remind myself is that sometimes emotionally manipulative people have not had the pleasure of coming across someone who will absolutely call them out on their BS, on their BS behaviors. Now, if no one in their environment has been able to call them out, how are they going to know that their behavior is that abrasive? Secondly, if you have been hidden, your truth has been hidden under layer after layer after layer of pretense, gender roles, societal roles, obligations, all of these things, abrasive people are perfect for you. Not that that's all you deserve, but that they gift you with the opportunity to rub off those layers. You can utilize every single event in your life, every interaction, as an opportunity to learn that much more about yourself and your life. That's what I do at this point. Whatever my life gives me, I'm going to learn something from this. You irritate me, I'm going to learn something from this. Either I'm going to learn to kind of quiet myself down, or I'm going to learn to find my voice and speak the F up. I'm going to learn something though. No one's going to stop me from learning. Let yourself learn what needs to be learned, okay? Let's see. Are people's individual teams made up of connections from previous lives? Yes. So your teams have a tendency to rotate out. Part of the team will remain disembodied, they'll remain etheric. The other part will incarnate with you. You tend to have a core team, a nucleus, and then a secondary team, and then a tertiary team, kind of like stair step, nested doll creation formations, however you want to call it. So, yes, you have a tendency to have lived previous lives, many previous lives with your team. Now, for those who don't believe in reincarnation, I will share with you, I respect your decision to not believe in that. That's perfectly fine. But with the work that I've done, so documented, I have close to 8,000 people documented that I've worked with just in the past 4 years. 4 years. That does not include the people, all the people that I've worked with my entire life, right? To date, I've only met one person who's had only 2 lives before this one. I have never worked with someone who has never incarnated before. So, I don't know. We kind of rotate in and out, in and out. That's my understanding of it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm the authority. I'm saying that's just how I understand it. That's what I've accepted at this point. I've heard we choose who our parents are going to be. My mom is the best, but why would I choose who my dad was if he was a mean alcoholic? Oh, this hits close to home. Let me just. So, we have to make sure that we have a beautiful balance in the life that we create, right? We have all of these options, secondary options, tertiary options available and loaded into our template before we come into this life. Sometimes the things we need to experience involve disappointment and traumas. Do I agree with that? No, but that's the human part of me. The soul part of me completely understands that it's through the adversity and sometimes even the danger in the environment we grow up in that we become the people we need to become. So the question, why would I choose my dad? Because he's the dad you need to become the person you are. And I say this with a father who's narcissistic, malignant narcissist at that. I needed that in my bloodline. I need to be equally rough and tough as I am soft and vulnerable. Sometimes when people attempt to dominate me, I don't know, it's this weird thing. I have this little laugh in my head that might sound crazy, but I just kind of laugh to myself and I think, you have no idea what kind of father I have. Half of that belongs to me. Unless you know what my father is capable of, you have no idea what I can do in response to what you're doing to me. You have the parent you have because that's the parent you need. And we can say all we want as human beings. I don't need that. Why would I need that? As a human being, I completely agree with you. I think it's BS. As a soul, I sit with you quietly. I'm not going to try and convince you. I'm just going to sit here and let you know I understand. I do. I understand. It feels unfair, but it's necessary for your growth, for you to become who you are and who you're still growing into. Mean parents, parents whose toxicity and trauma trickle over and affect us, parents whose childhood wounds still bleed all over us. They prepare us for something. And if you can harness what you learned in their presence through the adversity that they injected into your life, you have no idea how powerful you become. No idea. Tap into it and see how you grow. Why do other people's words not bother me? I was raised by a malignant narcissist. You don't develop a thicker skin. That's why I needed that as my father. But not before I was fully formed as a toddler. He was removed from my life for my first several years, allowing me to become who I am. And by the time that was set, he was brought back into my life to challenge me, to trigger trauma-induced accretion cycles. I'm as powerful as I am because he did not want me to exist. Too fucking bad. I exist anyways. Now, at some point, I'm going to mature enough and heal enough that I won't need that kind of mindset anymore of too fucking bad. I'm not there yet. And that's okay. I'm still valid, even though I have a long way to go with my healing. Same to you, Annie. Whatever way you were hurt or harmed that you are still trying to heal through, you're still valid. You're not only valid after you've reached the end product. Oh, darn ya. I'm sorry, guys. Important phone call. Hello? Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. And thank you, Annie, for sharing that. That's a very delicate thing to share. That's a huge vulnerability for most people. It takes a lot of courage to be able to share that. Let's see. Merkel's. This is in reference to my 70%. It's guesstimated that 70% of the population are actually organic portals. 2/3 of the population will disappear. Makes a little more sense now. All right, let's see. How would a person know if they're an organic portal? Organic portals definitely are not interested in knowing if they're an organic portal. That first and foremost. First and foremost, they will be the ones who will be the first one to say, I'm not an organic portal. That's not even accurate. That's not even a real thing. Okay, organic portal. It's true that anytime I come across an organic portal, and I'm really not interested in identifying people as organic portals or not. I'm just, if it's not going to add to my growth, I'm not interested, you know? But that's what I've noticed. The first response of an organic portal is that they are not an organic portal, and organic portals is not even a thing. That's just not a thing. So Chi, because you're asking how to know, this tells me you are not an organic portal. I hope that makes you feel better. Let's see. Um So loving the new chapter that started from the old beginning. Love that. Love that. All right. Um oh, let's see. Ooh, I think you should do a channel for adolescent and teens. Have you ever thought about doing anything like that? Um, so this is actually watched by quite a few adolescents, teens, and even toddlers. That's why I need to begin fixing my language. No more potty mouth. Um, but I think that when I speak in a very intense manner at times, that just adds to my authenticity. Um, a lot of the things that I talk about really would absolutely help adolescents, teens, even the younger children, elementary school children. I've worked with quite a few children and their parents in helping them to better understand themselves and their purpose, and how to navigate the beginning portion of their journey, their life. One of the most common things that I hear when I work with an actual family unit is that their child understands me and the way I explain things better than when they try and argue and demand and this and that. Here's the thing for adolescents and teens, okay? They tend to be much more ancient than you because of the waves of souls that are coming at this point. These souls are much older and definitely much more advanced than adults. And so, can you imagine, like, if you were a CEO and you kind of, no one believes you're a CEO of that company that you're the CEO of, and they're telling you you have to wash the dishes, you have to sweep the floor, mop the floor, and that's okay, you're willing to put in the work, but they treat you disrespectfully. Of course you're going to be pissed off, right? So that's what's happening with these children. They have a much more profound, in-depth knowing. The younger they are, the more intact the cord to creator still is. It hasn't had time to dry out and atrophy. So they're much more powerful. A lot of the children who are the double diamond sun, emerald sun babies, uh, they're born with a capability that's taken me over 40 years to reach. They're born with that right now. Like, I've come across newborns where I'm like, oh, I don't ever want to make you mad. You'd kick my butt. Like, good thing you're very good thing you're an elder soul, because you won't use that for the bad. These children are profound. They're profound. The problem is not the children. The problem is that adults, they still think the children have to play the roles that the adults were forced to play. They won't comply with that anymore. And I know it's a pain in the ass, but here's the thing. If your compliance led us to this situation, why would you ever teach your children to comply? If we want change, we cannot raise them to be who we are right now. We can't, because then things will never change. So people think it's a novelty to have one of the new children. It's the biggest challenge you will ever face in your life. It is the biggest challenge you will ever face in your life. They hand selected you because you're capable. It's a challenge, not an impossibility. With that, good luck. These kids are challenging. You can't take their struggles personally. And you have to be honest with them, because if you're not, if you try and play this role of knowing everything, they'll call you out on your BS. They really, really will. There was a period where all of my toddlers would ask me these really profound questions, and I would give them answers. They were like asking me complex questions, and I would give them the answers. And in front of me, they'd be like, we should look that up. Let's see if she knows. Why ask me then? Look it up directly. Like, I'm not a mechanic. They were asking me questions about the function, the mechanics of a combustible engine. I don't effing know. Rods and pistons, explosion, 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 explosion. That's all I know. And they're like, are you sure? I don't know. I think so. There's like spark plugs and stuff and fuel. I don't know. And they looked it up. I happened to be right. But I was worried for a second because I was like, oh my God, what if they tell me I'm wrong and then they lose respect for me? They'll never lose respect for you when they see you're trying so hard and are as honest as you possibly can be. If you think you can hide something from these children, you cannot. You cannot. There were days where I struggled with the emotions and the things I was going through, and I didn't want to stress my children out by talking about it. And so when they asked me as toddlers, are you okay? They're like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And you know what they would say as toddlers? I know you're not, but you don't want to talk about it right now. So I learned. They taught me. I'm not fine. And it's not fair of me to lie to you. So instead, I'll tell you the truth. I'm just having a rough day, but you know what? It's adult stuff. It's not age appropriate stuff yet. When you're older, I can definitely talk about more things with you. But right now, I don't want you to be worried about adult stuff. I want you to enjoy being a child. And they respected that. They understood, accepted, and respected that. That it's not that she wants to keep secrets from me. It's that she doesn't want to burden me with it. But when I'm older, I'll be stronger and I can carry that load with her. That's a very important thing to instill into the children as early as possible. I was born with 5 holes in my heart. Does that sort of thing have anything to do with past lives or soul lessons? It could. It could definitely. It could have to do with incompatibilities between the etheric template and the human genome. It could be just a whole bunch of different things. But it could also have past lives and soul lessons involved. Yeah. Oftentimes, the answer to a question like that, it's a very complex, very intricate coming together of different components that create the end result of that experience. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Like, it would be very irresponsible of me to just be like, oh no, it was a past life because, like, in that past life, they stabbed you in the heart. No, there's so many different components that come together and are intricately weaved to create the end result of that experience. Okay. I hope your heart is okay now. Let's see. If you don't have the ability to see with the physical eyes, spirits, and other 40 entities, is it possible to develop that skill? Yes. I don't see them with my physical eyes. Do you guys want me to share how I see? I'll just share it. Let's see. So it's like I see this. Okay, so try this out. Look at the screen. Look at me. Look me in the eyes. And then go like this with your hand. Go like that with your hand. You still see me because we're locked in. That's where you're focused on. But I also see what's happening with my hand. Now, if I were to slow down what I'm looking at, I'll see exactly what my hand is doing. That's how I see. I'm not seeing with my eyes. I'm seeing. They all kind of, your two eyes and your third eye, right? They come together at this point. It's like, when I explain this, oh my God, I'm about to complicate things. Let me leave that alone. You can develop that skill. You can develop that skill. So with gifts and abilities, if you have that activated or semi-dormant in your template, it will be much easier for you to develop that. Excuse me. If that is not part of your programming for this life, with tremendous effort, dedication, and investment of your time, energy, and focus, you can develop that. It just makes it harder. It challenges you more, but it's not that it's impossible. there's no limits except the limits you believe in. So whatever you want to develop, that's what you'll develop. Okay. Let's see. These are really good questions, you guys. I know my kids be cracking up sometimes, like, Mom, what? What? I'm sorry. My when my littlest, he tells me, I don't like that kind of talk. I'm very sorry. I don't like that. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm trying. This is just my organic way to talk. Let's see. Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. If he has questions, you could definitely put it in the comments. And maybe if I see it, if I'm drawn to it, that'll be the next thing we talk about the following week. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. When my youngest son was 3, he asked if God was good and created everything. Then why did God create curse words? Someone else thought it was a bad thing. I thought it was logical and profound. Mm-hmm. The field of good and evil is determined by what you intend and your human perception. Definitely. These kids are very profound. Very, very profound. I shared with you guys, one of my kids, just randomly, we were eating and he's like, I have a question. Can you heal trauma with more trauma? Immediately, I was like, hold on. I'm going to quote you. Is that okay? Because it was that profound. That's what we do. We heal our traumas by creating more traumas that we'll have to heal later on. These kids, they get it. What question do you want to ask about the Matrix? Oh my gosh. What question? I'm nervous. Let's see. Is it important to remember dreams? I know I dream, but I can't really remember all I know. Is they're very active, like a movie of sort of. So what I found is if you feel intense when you wake up and you can't remember it, like you wake up with some of the details, but shortly after you've been awake for a little bit, those details fade, and then after a few minutes, they're completely gone. You probably weren't dreaming. You probably went fully astral, and there wasn't enough of the human component of your consciousness because you're fully astral, you're out of body, and that's why you don't remember it. And as the soul reintegrates back, the consciousness reintegrates back into the physical body, you're still doing that reintegration for a few minutes after you wake up. And that's why you remember it for a few minutes as you're waking up. And as the consciousness fully settles back into the body, the density of the flesh and the molecular compaction within you makes it difficult to reaccess that. One of the things that we have to kind of consider is that for many of us who come from soul lineages that do a lot of astral work, and this is not something you can claim. You're either that or you're doing that or you're not. It's not like, well, I'm claiming it as, you can't do that. You just can't. So those of us who are here to do specific types of jobs that involve astral work, or involve delicate information, you won't be allowed to remember it because they can do neurohacking. They can do neurohacking and retrieve that delicate information. So it's kept separate from your human portion of your template. They can neurohack me all they want. They ain't going to get nothing. That's why my memory is so faulty at this point. Like, you're not going to get anything except my saucy attitude. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you don't remember. You know, I download throughout the whole day. Like I'm consistently having energetic downloads. The larger the download, the more spacey I become, or I'll just be full on put to sleep until the download is complete. And I know it's tremendous amounts of information because my brain feels different when I wake up. And what ends up happening is that information is just filed away somewhere. But when I need it, I know it immediately, immediate recall. Now, some people are like, oh my God, how, you just know so much. No, I don't. You have to trigger the recall of that, or else I don't know what the heck you're talking about. You can ask me a question, but if you don't need to know that, it won't recall the information for me. You can stand in front of me and not ask me anything, but your soul needs that information. I'd be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. I don't know where this is coming from. Have a good day. Bye. I'll give you the information, you know? So kind of just less trying to control, more flowing. That will help you to better integrate whatever it is you need to know. Okay. Uh, I don't have a mind's eye. I cannot form pictures in my mind. It's just black. Brandy, from what I hear, there's three types of neural function. One is visual, one is auditory, and the other is both. So maybe you just don't have the visual part. I don't know that that's a bad thing. You know, for some people, you're intentionally blinded to develop the other senses in this lifetime. Like for me, um, one of the things I was talking to someone and I was jokingly telling them, like, for some reason, I just cannot wrap my brain around astrology. Like, whenever I try to, I go blank. I go blank. I don't know why. I'm just like, yada, 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 moons, planets, whatever. And then this person was telling me they feel like I was some sort of astrological genius maybe in a previous life, and that it's intentionally blocked so that I can focus on other things. And I'm like, yeah, probably, because when I actually need information that connects to astrological events, details, whatever, I absolutely understand astrology, like, to a degree that scares me sometimes. And as soon as that question is done, it goes back to a foreign freaking language from a different freaking solar system. So sometimes what's blocked within us, it's really to encourage you to develop the other parts of you, your other gifts that need more of your time. Um, Ooh, I had profound experiences as a child. I think I made them go away when I was a child, afraid of them, and told no one about it. Wow. There's a lot of profound experiences that people don't talk about. Maybe at some point you'll be comfortable sharing some of those experiences, and I'm pretty sure if you do, you'll see that quite a few people have shared something similar. Uh how do I know if I'm talking to my true higher self? You ever argue with yourself? That's how you know. It speaks like you because it's your higher self. It sounds like you, it speaks like you, it's you. I talk to myself, that's my higher self. Sometimes you guys hear me like, no, that I don't want to hear my higher self right now. You know, that's how you know it's your higher self. People think like, oh, the higher self is going to speak like, hello, my child. No, that's that's new age mimicry, draconian half truth, try and F you up lie. No. Mm-mm. A lot of the things that people in spiritual communities peddle as like profound truths and stuff, and oh my God, like, no, it's all BS. I'm sorry. It's all BS. It's just the aesthetics. They're peddling the aesthetics. So your higher self sounds just like you. It's when you have a conversation with yourself and then you get mad at yourself. That's usually your higher self. Let's see. Yes. Billy, what if I told you she's actually right? That it would be 15 senses, but the 14th and 15th are such a high level of frequency that they no longer involve ways in which humans can communicate what they are. She's actually right. Belief is perception. Attitude is your interpretations of what you're perceiving. Just because she currently lacks the more mature vernacular does not mean she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's right. Not only do we have the five senses, not only do we have seven higher sensory senses, we actually have 13. You have a profound daughter, Billy. I feel her energy. Let's see. Um, um, how would someone bring back up the abilities I had as a child? Uh, by no longer sitting on the box that you shoved them in. It's very simple, but a lot harder to do. Let's see. You talked to Saint Benedict. You know who else Saint Benedict speaks to? Michaela. Ella, 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 eh. Here, let me see the words to it since my memory is horrible. Uh, I put lion, Latin. All right. It is Crux sacra sit mihi lux. Mm. Saint Benedict was spoken to by Archangel Michael. He was the one who was given um, a profound ability of exorcism. I've shared this before years ago, not long after I had gotten my tattoos. So, okay, these are my tattoos, right? I had them put there because I have this thing, just like Michaela, of I love 3/4 sleeves. I don't like my arms exposed, but I don't want them fully covered. And I was a makeup artist at the time. And so when I pull my sleeves up to do work, this part is always exposed, right? And whenever I'm seeing the things that I need to see on my arms. So I figured I would put the Saint Benedict medallion to block these channels to keep them encrypted. And everyone thought it was crazy. They're like, what are you doing? Why did you put that there? What is that? And I was like, it's a Saint Benedict medallion. And not long after I had gotten them done, there was a prayer group or whatever at my aunt's house. They had an infant Jesus statue. Sorry. Filipino stuff, yo. It's Filipino stuff. So there was this like extremely holy saint, big baby Jesus statue that was being passed around in the area. And my aunt was like, oh, we need to have baby Jesus come to the house. Y'all, this sounds crazy and everything, but trust me, flow with it. And so there was this priest that travels with baby Jesus. And he came to the house. And we did the prayers, group prayers. And then it came time to blessing each person individually. And I guess you're supposed to like sign of the cross in front of him. He's going to bless you. And my forearms are exposed. And he saw it. And so he grabs my arm and he looks at both of them. He goes, "Oh, were you going to enter the seminary?" And I was like, "Well, for a period, I had considered seriously becoming a Carmelite nun." He goes, "That's interesting. Why did you put that there?" And I was like, "Well, as a reminder, a permanent reminder of my commitment to my growth and integrity and purity of soul." And he was the one that told me that's the medallion they give you as you enter into the seminary to become a priest. That it's the St. Benedict medallion. The reason you're given that medallion is to protect you from demonic influence as you learn to serve the Lord. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, and he goes, "You didn't know that?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that. I never actually joined a convent." And he was just like, "So then why did you put that there?" "Because I already told you." To remind me. I need a reminder to not hurt people, to not have too much attitude, to remain pure in my intent and service through my life. And that was the moment where I realized the whole Saint Benedict thing was so much more than what I realized, than what I knew. Um, it's a very, it's been intertwined with my journey for a very long time since I was a teen. I was first introduced to the Saint Benedict medallion when I was 18, uh, and it had a major impact on a lot of the parasitic attempts to breach my space. A huge impact on that. So yeah, that's very fascinating. You talk to Saint Benedict. I love that. Let's see. I do. I know how to translate dreams. I I'm capable of a lot more than what I'm comfortable sharing publicly. We'll just put it that way. So not only did he give permission, he protected him. So crooks, something, I can never remember it. These are the letters that start the Latin prayer. It's a prayer in Latin. Yeah. Basochi, do you have any family members that brought a 3-foot baby Jesus to the casino? I have an auntie who involved baby Jesus in her gambling. Cracks me up. God. I was like, where are you going? Why are you carrying the baby Jesus statue? She goes, "We're gonna go to the casino." I'm like, are you really gonna bring baby Jesus to the casino? She's like, "Yeah." I don't think baby Jesus is gonna support your gambling. I'm dead. Like, why? Yeah, she brought baby Jesus to the casino. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but I have several sets of M's on one hand. I don't know if you guys can see it. I have several sets of M's. My thing is still burnt, so yeah, still have several sets. What's up? Remember we bought that big ass marriage statue? I know. Do you guys want me to share a little story? I'm gonna share a little story. Okay. Ooh. Ding. Yeah. Let's see. Oh my God. Let me just. So I'm going to share a little story with you guys. So years ago, I had to go through really insane life experiences to develop in a way that I could no longer deny, excuse, or explain away, right? Some of the skills I needed to develop, geolocation, and a few other things. So Michael tells me that I need to evacuate my house, like I'm never going to return. And why would I need to evacuate? And he made it seem like we were going to die. We were going to be unalive if we stay. And so we literally evacuated the house. I didn't know where I was going to go. He showed me this visual of a place I've never been to before with no idea of where I'm needing to go, where it is. He just showed it to me. He kept showing it to me. And I'm like, I don't know where that is. Tell me. Long story short, in less than 24 hours, I found this place that I've never been to before. And I was just like, oh my God. How did I find this? And it was exactly as the way I described it. And then he had me go to a couple other places, and I was basically, it was like the Exodus. He had me wandering for several months. And what, no, that was right before I came to get you. But what he did, he ended up having me do multiple, leave multiple or open multiple storage units scattered everywhere with all sorts of different things in each in each storage unit. And then finally, after being gone for several months, he told me I could go back home. My family was with me, so he told us we could go back home first. Before that, he had me and my family drive in our 1980 something Suburban with no license plates, no AC. He had us drive from Califas down almost to Guatemala in the car. It was cool though. It was fun. We liked it. We had fun. We were safe. But so then he sends me back home. I go back home and my mom is like, oh my God, we're so worried about you. You're effing crazy. Why do you do things like this? And and then I told her, because she was super worried that I would leave again. I told her, hey, you want to come with us? And she goes, yes, where are you going? I said, we got to go to San Diego. We got to go to San Diego because we got to pick up the stuff that we left in the storage there. She goes, storage? I'm like, yeah. Are you coming or not? And she's like, yeah, she wants to come. So we're driving down to San Diego, right? I think we had just crossed the Grapevine. I want to say we just passed the Grapevine. And I had fallen asleep. And I was having this dream that there were like really grotchky looking demonic things on all the four corners of the car, like trying to slam it against the curb, which was weird because we're on a freeway, but it was trying to slam us against the curb to pop the tires and flip our Suburban, our old ass Suburban. I woke up halfway and I told my husband, don't hit the tires. Like, move away from the curb. Don't hit the tires. They want to pop the tires to flip the car. He's like, what are you talking about? And then I went back to sleep. I went back to sleep because I don't know. I don't know. Clearly, I'm dreaming. I'm going back to sleep. So I did. And we ended up renting a U-Haul trailer to trailer behind our Suburban. And we went ahead and emptied out storage. And because we were so far south, we were just like literally maybe 15 minutes north of the border. My mom said she wanted to she wanted to go into Tijuana to get a Mary statue. She's devoutly religious. Stop. So we crossed into Tijuana and we got her a 3-foot Mary statue. I'm dying remembering this. We go to Tijuana. We go and we get her this statue, right? And then she's like, we might get trafficked. It's just crazy shit. So we leave. We get some burritos and we leave. We cross back into California and we're like, okay, we're going to head back home. My mom is riding shotgun with her arm around Mama Mary, 3-foot tall Mama Mary. Like this in the front seat. It's all good, you know, it's all good. She got the Mary statue. And it was like some sort of hairpin turn. We were like on a high hill. And it was a hairpin turn. And for some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to put a stoplight. It's a blind fucking turn. Who puts a stoplight there? So we get, and it turns out they're all stopped. And so we're carrying, we're trailering a heavy trailer going downhill. Shit. We're going downhill and my husband has to slam on his brakes or else we're going to slam into the people who were stopped. And what I was dreaming, that's what it was. The demonic stuff, they began going like this to the trailer, which then began to fishtail. And because it was so heavy and it was attached to the Suburban, we began to fishtail too. And as my husband's trying to get control of the vehicle, he's slowly drifting to the right where there's the curb. And luckily we had huge swamp tires on there and it kept hitting the curb. And I was like, they're going to pop the wheels. We're going to flip. They're trying to flip the Suburban. Move away from the curb. They're going to flip the Suburban. And I was just like, we're fine. Everyone, we're fine. And it literally felt like all 4 corners of the vehicle and the trailer were lifted and gently placed back down in the center of the lane. And I was like, see, we're fine. And then my mom with Mama Mary. Oh, it's Mama Mary. Mama Mary saved us. I was like, Mama Mary saved us. It was your statue. She saved us. It wasn't Michael and the legions that came and were like, let's lift this and put it back in the center. Yeah, it was insane. I was just like, I told you guys are going to try and pop the wheels. Yeah. So, and that's not the first time something like that has happened. Driving through, I think the place is called Eagle in Colorado. It was at night already, and it's like a canyon that you have to drive through. It's 2 lanes. 2 lanes in a canyon, and it's a sheer drop off and a mountain. You got nowhere to go. You legit got nowhere to go here. So wintertime, driving through there, and next thing you know, we hit a patch of black ice. Y'all, if you hit black ice, you cannot slam on your brakes. You'll lose control and you'll crash. And so you just have to hold the wheel. Don't put the gas, don't put the brakes, let it coast. You'll get control again. And so there was a lot of black ice, and we were heading towards the divider or the whatever that is. And I was just like, ain't nobody got time for this shit. Ain't nobody got time for this shit because there's no cellular reception there. It's nighttime. Not many people cross through there at that time at night. I was like, I ain't got no time for this. And if we crash, no one's going to be able to see us. They're going to crash into us. And as we're about to hit the divider, I swear to God, it was just the most graceful thing. It's like we just got picked up about an inch off the ground, then placed back in the center of the road. And I was like, oh, we're fine. And my husband was like, you're going to need to drive. I'm like, it's fine. You're fine. We are fine. I'm not allowed to die anytime soon. If I'm in the car, we all gonna survive. It's okay. And he's just like, no, I got PTSD now. You're gonna have to drive. And I was like, fine, I'll drive. But yeah, that's literally not the first or second time, because several hours before that, I was driving and I hit black ice, but this time it was on the freeway, and I could have sworn I was in between two cars. I could have sworn everyone was asleep. I was in between two cars, black ice, and as soon as like the car just went, I was like, oh no. And the two cars were gone. I don't know where they went. There was no exit because it was all within seconds. They were gone. They weren't behind me. They weren't ahead of me. They were just gone. I was like, well, thank God. Thank God they're gone, because that wouldn't have ended nice. And it would have been very inconvenient. There was no Mary that time. Well, there was a Mary, but there was no Mary. Yeah, there was a Mary, but not a Mary. But yeah, it's definitely a very, very beautiful drive during the day, especially certain times of the year, like fall. Oh my gosh, and all the trees change colors. Oh my God, it's so beautiful there. Eagle, Colorado. All right, guys, do you have any more questions? What I want you to do, um, if you feel so inclined, ask questions in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna need to talk about something next week. If you have something that's really intense, something that you haven't been able to gain clarity on, ask it. Ask your question. Share whatever it is you need to share. Who knows? I might be the messenger for you next week. Okay? Ooh. I have always felt protected. Yeah. Same. Same. And I just thought I was just full of it until until someone looked at my hands, and apparently, see all of those boxes, all those squares, so many squares, right? Hold on. Box after box after box. They say that those are the prayers your ancestors prayed that are still protecting you. I'm like, yes. Okay. How does energy transfer through blood or organ donations? Well, it's in there. What do you mean? Are you asking if their energy transfers into you, or excuse me, or do you mean something else? it tends to not transfer into you unless you have more of their actual tissue. Because just like hydroplasma goes through the morphogenetic template, it's not the actual morphogenetic template. If someone is highly sensitive and highly skilled at transmutation and extraction, energetic information extraction, they can use that to extract it. But the reality of it, your energy will not exist outside of the physical flesh for prolonged periods. It won't. As long as the body is still alive, the energy gets called back to the physical body. It's like the same as, you shed hair all the time, and although science can extract your genetic material from that hair that you shed, that's just hair. It doesn't really bother you, right? The same thing with energy. It will go back to you. Your energy can be infused in inanimate objects, like a necklace you wear often. And, there is this essence of an echo of your energy that is infused into that if you wear it for a long time. And that's what people are picking up on, the essence of the echo. They're not actually picking up on your energy still being on it, unless you're still very much fixated on that, or attached to that object. I hope that makes sense. So the night that I left my parents' house, there were 3 very big presences around me that created a shield. Oh, I love that. I love that. I kept feeling them all night. We are so very loved if we allow ourselves to actually experience the reality, like the true reality of how loved and supported we are on a soul level. A lot of your fear will greatly dissipate, like a lot of it, a lot of it. Um, you're not the only person that's experienced that, Brandy. Quite a few people have. Quite a few people have. The thoughts sometimes transmitted back to you through other people's words. Sometimes that involves neurohacking and the use of Trojans or the use of organic portals. There's already technology that has been admitted to existing that governments use, where it's called elf waves. Yeah, elf waves, ELF waves. And these are used to modulate that standing scalar wave patterning within your neurons and all of that. It can definitely, that's a real thing. I can't say if you're experiencing something real or what, but that's a real thing. There have been quite a few people who've experienced that. I've come across so many over the years, so many. Most of them will kind of quietly disappear. And that's not to say they no longer exist. It's to say they will no longer be on social media. They won't show their pictures. They won't use their real name. They're very hush hush. They use VPN type services. They, just a lot of like heavy, like carefulness. And you got to be, depending on who you are and what they're wanting or needing. You have to be. Let's see. I'd love to hear you talk about NDEs. I had one a few years ago and it saved my life after killing me. I died too. I had to have an actual yeah. There's nothing that compares to the feeling of your heart slowing down to the point where it stops. That type of pain. Nervous laughter, anxiety. Yeah. Definitely rebooted my systems. It rebooted me for sure. It was definitely an experience. Um, yeah. What do you want to know about near death experiences? You're not the only person that I've heard experience this. Just to kind of, you know, just kind of let you know that. um, ooh. Are you sure you're not talking about Lyrans? I had a dream of hunting with a group of people, and then I saw a snow leopard falling to the floor in a playful manner and started to help my pack hunt. You know? You sure you're not talking about humanoid felines from Lyra? You rebound time. Heaven in the traditional sense does not exist. But you can if you are in the field of resonance with certain periods of time in human history, creation history. History, creation itself is not linear. Time is not linear. So, what you were accessing was an older template that was used, and then it wasn't. It's beautiful. With trees so tall, and they all knew our names. That's one of my fondest memories. Tears, trees so tall, and they all knew all our names. And we lived in the trees. Not as animals, but we were already bipedal. See. So, Lyrans, many of those who are from the intact lineages of Blu-rays, they filtered through feudal Japan, and they filtered through the Lyrans. And that has a lot to do with whatever line you filter through, you then have the ability to harvest all of the ancestral knowledge, wisdom, skills, abilities that that line has developed. All the ancestors before you, you have all of that. So if I've been filtered through Lyra, I have all of their history, all of their knowledge, all of their abilities encoded into my template. If I've been filtered through feudal Japan, it's just like that. It's very, very fascinating if you allow yourself to really like wrap your brain around it. Oh, these are bigger than sequoias. Have you heard of this theory that the mountain ranges are actually the ancient fossilized root systems of old trees? I don't want to see it. Have you guys heard of that? Uh-huh. Yeah, like in the movie Avatar. But based on what I remember, the mother tree in Avatar is a baby compared to the trees that once existed. That's a baby tree compared to the trees that existed. But yes, we would live in the trees like that. Those are the older souls. We would live in the trees like that. And we lived in such a symbiotic way with the environment. All the needs are provided for and all of that. Very simple, very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to exist. Um, Wait, tell your person that's not a place to play in. He's being called by a demonic being. I know exactly what he's looking at. That does not belong in the ancient forest. That's not of that place. They're calling to him to infest him. He should not return back there. He should not return back there. I cannot emphasize that enough. He should not return back there. Um, that's not a good being. That's not a good being. And then he'll also potentially be shown a large lake that's like in the. Don't go there. Don't go there. When he gets closer, and okay, then there you go. There you go. Yeah. Those small houses are holding compounds. That's where they hold beings before they cook them in the funny house. Do you guys have any other questions? Yeah. The lake appears to be water, but it's not. It's the emptied hydroplasmic frequency. It's etheric blood. That is a very, very wicked, wicked place. If you go there, you will be consumed. I know exactly the being that maintains that space. You will be consumed. You won't die. No. You'll be tormented in body and mind. You guys have any other questions? I'm just. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay. Crux sacra sit mihi lux. Nunquam Draco sit mihi dux. May the Holy Cross be my light. May the dragon never be my overlord. Has to do with the dragon. The dark dragon. Just, you don't want none of that. Trust me. What's my view on mermaids? They're real, but not like the Little Mermaid. At all. Not like the Little Mermaid. There. uh, I'm sorry. um. Oh. These are things I don't understand, and the fact you're willing to answer my questions, as weird as they are, you're helping me protect myself. Knowledge is power. It truly, truly is. The gang stalking you're talking about, it ties in to Draconians. Draconians answer to this Watcher of Old. One of the former archaic names this Watcher of Old used to go by has been known as Shaitan. I'm not talking about Lucifer. I'm talking about the Shaitan. Stay away from that place. It wants you. It wants you because it wants to consume something you have. This being is efficient. It doesn't go for the weak. It only seeks out the very, very strong. You have to stop playing like you're weak. The more you believe you are weak, because that is a lie, the more he will be successful in luring you to the places where you need to be lured to in order to consume you. He does not go after the weak, ever, ever. So, you know, um, what the heck happened? Hold on. What do dimensional one beings, oh, do dimensional one beings exist? What do they look like? Flat? Flat. One dimension, flat. There's no dimension to it. No shadows, no nothing. 1D is sacred geometry before life was infused into it. Um, no. Does everyone have dragons? No. No. Dragons are not pets, they're sentient beings. Um, no. It's like, does everyone have friends? No. Does everyone have friends from the Philippines? No. No, not everyone has dragons. Um, Teresa, ask it anyways. Teresa is guiding us to the very bottom. Oh my gosh. Ooh, okay. Mm, mm. The same reason I had to work through my fear and do this podcast. Eventually, those who serve as a mother figure become older, and the children must get older. What made me begin offering my K33 certification program? It's preparation. Preparation for what? I'm not going to stay small forever. I can only delay it for so long. When I'm finally in the rightful position that I'm supposed to be in to serve the greatest elevation of sole purpose that I came to serve, there will be too many for me to do alone. So I need to let the others wake up and join me. I said once that I would never talk about it publicly. Not because it's a secret, but just because I don't want to share. Um, Part of my function in this lifetime is to prepare the warriors who were put to sleep. That's why I live stream every day. Every time I live stream, every time I talk, it doesn't matter what I talk about. It serves as a homing beacon, pinging all the Blu-rays. It's not enough for you to find me. You have to be prepared as well, emotionally, mentally, energetically. Michael says, why are you dancing around the actual answer? The actual answer. Kokoro 33 is a Blu-ray warrior system. It's an energetic system that anyone can learn. You don't have to have experience. I can teach you. The difference between me teaching you and someone else teaching you is when I teach you, I activate the codes in you by teaching you. Why is this important? Because if I activate those codes in you by teaching you and you know how to harness that energy, not only can you defend yourself, you become ridiculously powerful. Anyone can do this. But when you're a Blu-ray and you learn this, you become unfuckwithable. And the more you learn, the more the energy floods in the parts of your template that it needs to flood. And when enough of that portion of your template is flooded with hydroplasmic frequency, your full Blu-ray coding turns on and your shield becomes impenetrable, while your sword is sharp enough to penetrate any armor. So there's no spiritual war coming. There's a massive correction being initiated by Creator itself. Blu-rays answer to no one but Creator. We have loyalty to none but creation. My system is a Blu-ray system. I function within their military ranks. Many of my lifetimes I've existed as not just military, but special ops. So that certification program that I have, it's just the beginning stages of preparing. The more who have that depth of pathway opened up, activated, you're anchoring in those codes. We exist outside of this 15-dimensional time-space matrix. The more you wake up, the more it infuses the planet because of the laws of reciprocal reflection. What exists on the surface will be reflected within the core. What exists in the core will be projected onto the surface. We are literally the change the world is waiting for. Literally. And as we terraform the landscape of the human consciousness, we lay down the foundation and structuring for the children to build. The world will change with agreement or force. It really is irrelevant. The only guarantee is there's going to be change. We get to decide how. When we inform ourselves, when we begin asking the questions that need to be asked that no longer just preoccupy you and keep you in cyclical cycles of bullshittery, you then begin to understand the gravity of your existence and the gravity of each person's existence. We are all interconnected, yet remaining separate. No thread more important than the other. Because really, when you're done with a tapestry, all it takes is one thread to be pulled to ruin the entire thing. There's a beautiful balance that exists between you and other people. It's just a very beautiful balance. Yes, there's a very high probability. What type of Blu-ray? I don't know. I don't know. I always thought it was interesting how I found you. You just popped up on my YouTube options. That was last May, I think. So what happens is this. I just sit here minding my business, talking shit, minding my business. And then when you're ready, I'm presented to you by your soul. Why? Because I can reach you in a way that no other can. Why do you think I was put in a small body? Why do you think I was given this face and voice? Why do you think I incarnated into the ethnicity that I am? The world is programmed to disregard me. And if you don't see me as a threat, the words I speak have a higher likelihood of penetrating deeper. You're not busy fighting me. That's why my ego has to function the way it does. I don't want to be drunk with power. I don't even want to drink. I just want to get this job done and go the fuck home. That's it. I want to live a simple life. But Michael has no fucking chill. And he forces me to consistently take stock of what I'm doing and what I'm withholding, why I'm withholding it, and all these other things. And, you know, I resist less and less. And that's just the process that I'm in. And that's the process I have to go through. And that's just that. We all have our processes. No matter where you are in your process, you're valid. You are valid. Can exorcisms really happen? And if so, where does what is released go? Yes, wherever it wants. Another place, another person, it's really irrelevant. When I do an extraction, which is a scientific fancy way of saying exorcism, I really don't give a shit where it goes. It just can't go here. Why? Because I'm gonna fuck shit up if you stay here. That's why. I'm not gonna kill you, your energy, but I sure as hell go fuck shit up if you stay here. So that's your option. Stay, let me fuck shit up. You don't really get to say, I'm gonna fuck shit up. Or leave. Where you go? Anywhere but here where I'm occupying, because now this is mine. Have you guys ever heard about how to train dogs? Like, how do you teach a dog to respect you? You teach them that you have the power because they can only have something if it comes through you first. Right? How does this apply? Well, I remember like trying to establish my dominance with an animal. A dog is a very easy example. It has a toy that it really really likes. Am I teaching you that I'm controlling this situation by screaming and snatching the toy? No. It's like a mad dash for power. No. Instead, I'm not going to grab that. I'm just going to go very close to it. And I'm going to look at you like, if you touch this, don't even fucking look at it. Don't even look at it. It's mine. Did this with my dog. She's a gator pit. When she was a puppy. I started this when she was a puppy. If I tell you to leave it, don't even look at it. I'm the leader here. Do not challenge me. Not because you're afraid of me, but because you understand the ranking here. You can give her a raw piece of steak, and right as she puts her mouth on it, you tell her leave it. She's going to drop that and look the other way. Why? Because dominance has been established. Same thing with a parasitic world. Dominance has to be established. People say like, oh, command it to go. Are you dominant? Because bitch, tell me to go. I'll tell you, make me. I will tell you, make me. You want me to shut up? Make me. Make me. Well, you better shut up or else what? Show me. What are you going to do? And it's not me bluffing. Like when I project that energy, do you guys feel like I'm bluffing? Or do you guys feel like, whoa, oh shit? What about me makes you feel like, oh shit, someone's really going to get it? Because my energy matches the words that I'm saying. I've established my place in that astral realm. They don't like me, and I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Why don't I give a shit? Because I'm going to fuck shit up if you try me. How do I know I can? Because I have in every single lifetime. Does that mean I think I'm badass? No. That means I know I'm efficient. Lethal type of efficiency. I know how standing scalar waves function. I know how to tear apart the bonds. I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to transmute you to neutral. And because I know your psychology, you think if you're neutralized, you'll cease to exist. That alone is very scary for something parasitic. So are you going to stay and give me an opportunity to fuck shit up? Or are you going to go? I really don't give a shit where you go, because eventually the next person it goes to will also find me. And I'll do it again. So where do things go when they have an exorcism? Anywhere they want. You don't want to get a parasite? Stop leaving pockets of emptiness inside you. And if you build that house, they will occupy it. All those things you want to ignore about your life, those are empty houses, perfectly outfitted to house parasitic issues. Live a life with fullness. Live a very full life. It is a demonic essence. I call it a parasite because I feel there is power in words and the way Society and human history have programmed us to receive these words. When you hear me say, oh, you have a parasite, you think, oh, get it out. Ew. When I tell you, you have a demon, oh my God. Yeah. Simple word. Same thing. Why is the word different? Well, because your reaction is different when the word is different. That's why I call it a parasite. Am I lying to people? No, their behavior is parasitic. I took the emotion and romantics out of it. Why do you call it a parasite? Well, because those types of dimensional beings, they're more aware than humans, but not aware enough to know that they are still hardwired into creation. If you are not hardwired into that food source, how will you sustain yourself? You'll starve. So you must feed on others. So are they evil? Or are they simply afraid? I'm not making excuses for parasitic things. I still think they're bachachos. And yeah, I will still fuck shit up even if you're afraid. Be afraid somewhere else. Not here. Simple rule. If I occupy this space and I don't give you permission to be here, you better move. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. That's that. And when you begin to see parasitic things in that sense, where they're just trying to feed, no, we don't have to feel sorry for them, but we don't have to be afraid of them either. We just have to remove our access. It's not so scary. They feed off fear. They bluff a lot. They use intimidation tactics. How did I learn to become like this? Because they did that to me as a child. And after a certain point, I was just like, fuck you. They'll push me down the stairs again. Go the fuck ahead. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. You're going to do this. Do it. I don't give a shit anymore. Do it. I don't care. So now why don't they try that? Because I literally don't give a shit. Give me a reason. Give me a reason to release all this aggression and frustration that has been built up. Because I can't do it to other human beings. That's not fair. Astral things, it's absolutely fair. Give me a reason. It's not even a challenge. It's not even a threat. It's literally give me a reason. Give me a reason. No, I won't hold back. See, I don't have this mindset of, like in the real world. If I'm traveling open carry, I have my sidearm on me, and you try and approach me in a menacing way, you're going to attack me. You've stated you're going to hurt me, harm me. Something about you makes me feel you are a credible threat to my life and safety. I'm not going to shoot you in the kneecaps. I'm going to go for center mass. There's a higher likelihood of me actually hitting you. But Emmie, what if you hurt someone? I don't care. I'm trying to preserve my life. Now is not the time for me to be like, well, sit down. Tell me what happened in your life that caused you to go down this path. I don't give a shit what caused you to go down this path. I need to make sure you don't harm me. How can I do that? By aiming for center mass. I hope you don't die, but I'm not going to be an easy victim. I'm just not. I'm not. I refuse. I will go ahead and go through whatever legal repercussions of defending myself. I'm not going to pull out that firearm and no. If I point something at someone, I have only one intention: to neutralize your threat in whatever way I can. It will never be drawn to someone short of that. No. So when you allow yourself to apply this to the energy, like parasitic things, no, she's not joking. When I tell you, are you going to stay? And sometimes that's all I have to do. They're not even going to answer. They're just going to go. That's it. They're just going to go. That's it. How do you deal with controlling parents who still treat you like a young child even when you're grown? Just do what you want. How are they going to stop you? Just do what you want. There's no point in trying to explain to them because they don't know any other type of dynamic when it comes to you. This is all they know, so this is all they're going to do. How do you deal with it? By finding the courage to change it. How do you change it? By no longer complying. My oldest is an adult, a full-on adult. And I've had to tell him several times, like, it's okay if you disappoint me. If you don't want to do something, say it. It's okay for you to tell me no. It's okay for me to be disappointed, irritated, frustrated, whatever it is. It's okay. Literally, it's okay. Let me know your boundaries. Because I don't know how to see him as anything outside of my baby. So there's been times, the few times, very rare times, where he's told me, like, no, I don't want to go to the store. Okay. Okay. I just, I got to remind myself, hey, do you want him to be a team player or do you want him to be an individual, a free thinker, powerful, even if you're not around? And I have to remind myself these things. Now, if you don't have a parental unit that can love you in that way, you're going to have to be the one to establish that by no longer complying. That's going to create a lot of friction. But that friction that's created, it's going to wear down the walls that have been up to keep you in the place they told you to stay in. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. You're not going to do it in one night. You're going to have to really stick to your guns. You're not going to have to tell them anything because honestly, they're not going to listen to you. If they're controlling, they don't value what you say because in their eyes, you are a child. But are you a child? I mean, if you're going to refer to me as a child, you better add of God, a child of God. You know? You're going to have to figure out how to begin the process of shifting the dynamic. If you're going to try to do like a 180, then the next movement, the next shift will also be a 180 and you'll be right back where you started. 1 degree at a time, it's not going to be such a war and you'll slowly acclimate them. It's like putting a frog in a pot of water and then turning the heat on. By the time it's boiling, they didn't know what happened. Some people might say, oh my God, that's so manipulative. And would you rather he get kicked out of the house? Would you rather his parents lay hands on him because he's not listening all of a sudden, being disrespectful? Like, people can get the fuck out of here with their bullshit. If they haven't lived through that shit, they can kindly or not so kindly just shut the fuck up. For real. For real. Yeah. No, shut the fuck up. Because if you've never lived through it, your input, it's irrelevant. You can read all the books that you want, but until you've lived through it, that's cute. Your opinions are cute. So, Emmie, why do you think you can talk about it? Because I lived through it. Durr. I lived through it. So what did I do? My parents were so strict that when I was in high school, I wasn't allowed to stay after school to work on school projects or anything like that. for dances. And remember, my brothers they were like basically gangbangers. Um, and everyone in the entire East Bay knew who they were. And so for dances, my parents said I could go to take pictures with my friends. So that's like I could stay maybe 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes for us to take pictures as a group. And then usually one of my brothers would be standing outside and one of the guys would be threatened, and they would come in looking like they're about to poop their pants and be like, hey, you gotta go. Your brother's outside. He's threatening people. Like, oh my God. So then I would have to go home. I wasn't allowed to go to the library. Okay. This is how strict my parents were. I wasn't allowed to go to the library to do schoolwork. The rationale is they bought an encyclopedia set in the early 80s. It's now the late 90s. I'm just going to be a little hoe if I go to the library. So I need to just use the encyclopedia set. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to go to the library. It was a huge deal. I wasn't allowed to play in the backyard because I'm going to be Miss Universe. You didn't know? And I can't have any discoloration in my face. I can't allow myself to get dark. I might fall and get some sort of injury, and that's going to be a scar, and no one's going to pick me for Miss Universe if I have scars on my body. So I'm not allowed to play outside. I cannot go to the end of the driveway to get the mail because, well, like, what am I doing outside? Well, like, what am I waiting for someone out there? Like, that's how fucking ridiculous it was. And I never snuck out. As a teenager, I never snuck out, not even once. My friends, they were all sneaking out doing crazy ass shit. Not me. I was sitting my ass at home because I'm not trying to get beat when I get home. I'm good. So, yeah, it was that controlled. And then when I turned 18, fuck this shit. You don't want me to go out at night? Hey, if I'm working, I'm going to stay the fuck out. I'm just going to stay out. What are you going to do when I get home? Yell at me? I mean, you yell at me all the time anyways. I don't really give a shit. What are you going to do? Kick me out? Okay, I'll move out. I'm not worried. That can't be any worse than this. I'll move out. So what's the threat? Nothing. I'll stay here as long as I am here. And when I move out, I move out. And no, you don't get to put input. You know, that's no. Nope. You want to control this and control that? Go right ahead. But I'm not going to comply. Unless I want to, I'm not going to comply. Nope. But I still complied with things that I felt, were disrespectful if I didn't comply. Like 18, I was working full time, going to school full time, and my entire work and school schedule revolved around being able to drive my mom to work and pick her up from work and take her to her next shift at the next hospital. So, things like that. But pretty much everything else, I was kind of just like, you know what? If I'm home, I'm home. If I'm not, I'm not. But at that time, cell phones weren't really, so they couldn't call me. If I was out, I was out. You just got to wait and see. Am I coming home tonight? And I never slept over someone else's house. I would come home hella late, like 6 a.m. Well, here's the thing though. When I was 18, me and like my high school sweetheart, we broke up, and I was really sad. And so like, I just didn't care. And so my girlfriend at the time, she was really into partying. And so we were going clubbing Monday to Sunday. Monday to Sunday. That's why I don't go clubbing, because this bitch wore me out after a year. I'm like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out. Why are you making me go out? I want to stay at home. I don't want to go to a bar. I don't want to go to a club. I don't want to drink alcohol. I don't want any of that. I want to sit at home and just sit at home. Surprised they didn't get you a pager. So, I'm very, very blessed to have old school Asian parents who totally have this mindset that if I have a pager, I'm a gangbanger drug dealer. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. But I think after a certain period, they kind of just got to this point where it's like, just whatever. She's going to do whatever she's going to do. She's not really that bad. Just leave it. Just leave it. Because I would be cussing up a storm. Like, after I was just like, no, you're going to yell at me. I'm going to yell back. I'm going to yell back now. I'm tired of hearing you yell at me. So, yeah, 1 degree at a time. 1 degree at a time. And eventually things will change, but it's not going to change until you initiate that first. You have to be the one to initiate it. When I turned 18. Well, see, I got away with so much when I was 18. I got away with so much. Not in my family, but with other people. Seriously, the world taught me that if I just wear a push-up bra and pretend like I don't understand, you'll help me. What? Trying to get into a 21 and up club, 18 years old, with a fake ass ID that looks nothing like me, and then the bouncer at the door. He looks at the card and he looks at me and he looks at the card, and I was like, it's like, get inside. Thank you. And I went inside. I mean, I don't know. Yes, I always was in my room too. I was just always in my room. It definitely felt better being alone. I love solitude. I love solitude. I really, really do. I love solitude. All right, guys. I was supposed to only be on for 2 hours. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Smokey Robinson's gangbanging video. You know, I'm just, my parents couldn't say shit about gangbanging and stuff because my dad taught us to be that way. He literally encouraged it. He encouraged it, like to give you gravity of the severity. We went on a trip to Las Vegas. We're all adults at this point. We went on a family trip to Las Vegas, right? And my dad was driving his Suburban, and we're inside the Suburban. So my dad is driving. I don't remember who's in the front seat. I'm in the middle of the second row. My oldest brother is to my left. My mother is to my right. And I don't know who's behind me, right? We stop at a stoplight. And we stopped at the stoplight. We're headed towards the strip, like deeper towards the strip. It's at the corner where Excalibur is. This is how traumatized I am. Excalibur's right there. Anything? What is that? Tropicana? Okay. We're at that light. We're going to go straight. And there's a car to the left of us. Remember, my brother's on the left. Oh, this poor white boy didn't know what the fuck happened. He thought he was hard. He thought he was hard. He thought wrong. Because what he did, their windows were tinted, but so were ours. This is not long after Tupac was gunned down in Vegas. Was he gunned down in Vegas? I think it was Vegas. So this passenger of the car, front seat passenger, he rolls down the window up to here, and he's looking over at us. And I look because I sensed my brother's intensity. And he's looking over at the guy. And he rolls down our window more. And I'm like, now there's a handgun in a bag in between my feet. And he picked it up. He has it in his lap. He loads the mag. My mom on this side, I'm in between them. She's pulling the bag. He's pulling the bag. I'm like, I'm going to get shot. I didn't even do anything. I'm going to get shot. And then finally he yanks it away from her. He rolled the window halfway down. I was like, oh my fucking God. And so the driver finally sees and he takes off. And I guess my dad saw it in the rear view. He puts the car in park. It's now a green light. It's now a green light. He puts our car in park. And he proceeds to, because my brother didn't do anything. He's just like, I'm going to shoot you if you threaten my family type thing, right? He puts the thing back. And my dad is telling him, you're a fucking idiot. If you're going to pull it out, you should have shot him. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what the actual fuck are you saying? Why are you telling him he should have shot him? At which point now my brother's like, well, go drive after him and I will. I was like, yeah. Yeah. So when I say they couldn't say shit because my father encouraged it, that I literally mean that. I literally mean that. I don't know what kind of parental figure would do something like that, where instead of like de-escalating, he's totally like, you're so fucking stupid because, you didn't follow through. And I'm like, oh. Mm-mm. 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 We all grow up the way we need to. We all experience the things that we need to experience. That was such a long, 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 long time ago. We all experience everything that we need to experience to learn the things we need to learn to form our perception in the way it needs to be formed. Now, I could leave that experience as nothing but a traumatic moment, extremely toxic, extremely traumatic, or I can learn something from that. That it takes a bigger man to be able to assess a threat and recognize it's not a threat and back the fuck down. It takes a bigger man to be that way than the man who once I pull it out, I mean, I don't care what's happening. I don't care if it's necessary or not. I'm going to just start blasting people. Like that's, mm-mm, mm-mm. It helped me to see that I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be like that. That I have within my genetics the capacity to be just like that. But am I? No, because I decided not to be. That I'm so powerful, I can choose which parts of my gene pools I will allow to be front and center with me. Yo, when I say, sometimes I just laugh, like people try and fuck with me, and it's like, you have no idea what kind of father I have. You're ridiculous. Don't make me take my childhood out on you. You won't even know what the fuck's happening. Don't let me get too deep into this where I'm considering being a reflection of ugly ass shit. Here's the thing though. No matter what's happening in my life, it's always my choice which parts of my gene pool I will allow to be front and center. I know how ugly humanity can be. I also know how beautiful. Which do I want to focus on? Which do I want to cultivate? Or do I want to sit here and just focus, hyperfixate on the fact that I experienced really shitty things, that I witnessed really shitty things? Or do I learn from that? Not choose that for myself or my family. Not allow that to continue in another generation. I'm sure a huge part of the reason why I chose this person to be my father as a soul is to give me a very clear understanding of what kind of parent I want to be for my children. That's a powerful thing. To give me a full understanding of how powerful I can actually be. You couldn't break me as a child. I couldn't be broken as a child. You sure as fuck is not going to break me as a full-grown adult. You're just not. You're not. And no, I don't need to be crazy. No, I don't need to just be a byproduct of my earlier life. No, I don't need to anything that I don't choose. I walk around with a lot of scars. Does that detract from the beauty of the person that I am? Not at all. And am I a beautiful person because you think I'm beautiful? Or do you think I'm beautiful because I choose to be who I am? And you find value in that. You find beauty in that. You choose who you are to be. Choose wisely. Choose with intent. And the people who have the capacity, maturity to understand the gravity of you, they'll find you. They'll find you. And they'll witness you being yourself. And they won't just tolerate you. They'll celebrate you coming home. Yeah, it is amazing. It really truly is. It's amazing. And I will have gratitude in my heart for the rest of my life. over my entire life. My entire life. There's nothing that I would change at all. There's nothing that I would change. Everything that I've lived through, witnessed, struggled through, suffered through, all of that, I would do it all over again exactly the way it is, because it turned me into the person I am now. And the person I am now, I really like her. I really like her. And the more that I get to know her, the more that like becomes love. What is my channel? But the documenting of the process of me falling in love with myself. That is a powerful thing to witness, because then it frees you to choose to start your process of liking yourself, and then loving yourself, and then growing in that love of self and soul. That's so beautiful. That's beautiful in a way that has to be felt. It has to be experienced, witnessed. It can't just be talked about. It can't just be like, oh, this girl, this, blah, blah, blah. And people won't get it. They won't understand the gravity until they're there, hearing, seeing, feeling as it's happening. It's a very beautiful thing. There's no right or wrong choices, ever. Anything that's technically a wrong choice, it's not a wrong choice. It's just a redirection. It's not a failure. There's no wrong at all. At all. Yes. And I think we see it as suffering until we get to a point where we fall in love with ourselves. Because once you love yourself to that degree, or at least start the process of loving yourself, it's this thing of like, why did I have to go through this? Why do you feel that way? Because you don't like who you are. That's why. That's at the heart of it. Because you still don't like who you are. And when you can get to a point where you like the person you've become, and you realize all the ways, all those circumstances added to your growth, it's no longer like, why do I have to go through this? It's like, damn, I went through some shit. Damn, but it made me who I am, you know? So, I mean, is it really bad? Not really. It was stupid. It was inconvenient, but oh man, it taught me a lot. And to be able to get to that point where you can say that, whether you intended to or not, you're falling in love with yourself. You're coming back home to you. No one could have ever taken you there. Only you. That's a solo mission. That's a solo trip. You got it, though. You got it. Oh, this is so important. Your here is my there. Scars into stars. My here, once upon a time, was also my there. And in the process of living and being fully present as I live, that T at the beginning, that became blurred. And I realized my there has always been here, and my here has always been there. They were all just different places within myself. just different places within myself. It was never this other place or other person I had to be or become, or, you know, the truth of ascension is it's a process of undoing, unlearning, unbecoming, a stripping back of layers to reveal the truth of the beauty of the grain. If you've ever restored wooden furniture, there's something beautiful about opening that grain back up and the limitless potentiality of what stain you can use, different finishes. It's a very beautiful thing. If you look at a classroom and you learn the lesson, what happens? What happens after you learn the lesson? Your teacher has to make sure that you've mastered the course. So you have to be tested. You'll repeat that situation again. How do you know you've passed the test? You won't react in the same way. It won't affect you in the same way. Think of a class that was very challenging for you. The hardest class you've ever taken. And then when you got done with it, think of maybe the first week, the second week, and then the final day. Your comprehension level is so different. So different. The way you feel about it is so different. So different. When I ran my first cycle of certification, I could feel everyone's anxiety. They were all nervous, excited, but also nervous. Like when I began to really express and teach and show concepts, use words that maybe they haven't really heard before. It's intimidating, I'm sure. But not because they're incapable, simply because they're unfamiliar. Huge difference there. Huge difference. And as they became much more familiar with the terms and the concepts, oh my God, the way my students blossomed. Just watching them blossom. The way they opened up to this realization of their actual potentiality. It became a tangible thing. Because see, when we do these classes, you're doing it. I'm not simulating that. That's your energy. You're doing that. And then when we got to the part where I was teaching defensive measures so they could keep themselves and their clients safe, and I simulated an attack. And they were able to handle it. And in that simulation, I detected an attempt, an actual real attempt by principalities to harm my students. And as I prepared to go into mama bear mode, Michael said, no, sit back. Watch them really do what you're teaching them. And I sat back. Not a single one needed my help. They all fuck shit up. I was like, my babies! Oh shit! They fuck shit up! I was so fucking excited. That first cycle will they taught me so much. You felt me remember taking a step back. Most people don't realize it because my energy tries to accommodate as much as possible. I take up a lot of space. I take up a lot of space. And when I take a step back, you feel that moment of silence. It's in that place of quiet that I often sit and I hear very clearly. I see very clearly. I know and feel very clearly. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know who's watching and needs to hear this. I was going to take down the listing because I'm about to run another cycle. If you would like to join my certification program, it starts in a few days. There's still time for you to register and to make it on the first day of class. First day is January 2nd. I don't know who needs to hear that. This certification program is far different from anything you've ever tried. Why? All the other systems that exist right now that work energy, they harness frequencies from harmonic universe 1. That's dimensions 1, 2, and 3, the basics. At master level, they are harnessing third dimensional frequency. My program, first day, you're harnessing 12D. We're about efficiency. We don't fuck around. First day, you're harnessing 12D. We don't go lower than 12D because that's not efficient. It's just not efficient. This program has a capacity to override distortions in that standing scalar wave programming that then gets translated into the human genome, which then is the coding that gives instruction to every cell. This is a system I used to remove a thumb-sized tumor from my cervix with zero intervention. No cannabis, no nothing. Simply thought. This is the same system that I used, and this is all medically documented. This is a system I used to reverse my mother's stroke. This is also the same system that I used to help my brother recover his heart function. Which, by the way, oh my God, I'm so fucking proud of that guy. I'm so fucking proud of that guy. I have to share with you guys. They just did another test on his heart. What was once a heavily damaged, failing left ventricle is now registering as within normal. There's no enlargement. There's no none of that. He's recovered so much. They took him off the transplant list. He's no longer a candidate. Not only that, the cardiac team is now going to be scheduling his visits for every 6 months. Because really, the feeling that I get is they don't know why he's a medical anomaly. You don't recover heart function like that. You don't regenerate muscle tissue in the heart like that. I think they just want to track his growth. I think they want to use him as a case study. This is not the only medical thing I've done. I was working with my mother to restore nerve function in a leg that was paralyzed. Her physical therapist, who would come to the house every week, she was shocked. My mother's leg fired up. I could see it in her face, and I got scared. I got scared because my mom has a big-ass fucking mouth. She has a big-ass mouth, and when the physical therapist asked her, my mom smiled and said, "My daughter." And she's like, "What do you mean, your daughter?" "My daughter, she fixes bodies." Don't say that. So what do you mean? My daughter. It's the third eye thing. Stop telling people that. And I spoke with that physical therapist. She's like, "Oh, like Reiki?" No, not like Reiki. And I spoke with her for a while about the reprogramming of the standing scalar waves, the fission fusion of the part K and part I, and the manipulation of that. The correction of the molecular compaction that causes degrading and distortions within your genetic code, etheric and human. I'm finally reaching a place in my life. I'm losing my fear of sharing how much I actually know. I promise you, what I've shared so far, it's not even a percent or two of the gravity of the information I'm going to share with humanity. One of the most beautiful things, one of the most powerful things, I was part of the cloister that was sent to transcribe the CDT plates in the darkness of the halls of Amenti. I was one of them, the primary one. The actual CDT plates are burned into my template. It can't be taken from me, not even if you kill me. Not even then. You can't harvest it from my blood because the moment it leaves my body, it's corrupted. It's part of why I came here. The real information is being given back. Because knowledge actually is power. When you don't know, you create fear, and the fear creates modulations that are irregular. It's like having atrial fibrillation. Why is that so dangerous? Well, because if your heart goes too slow, it can begin to form clots. And then when it jumps up in speed and goes real fast, it throws the clot. And you get blockages and you get injuries and damage. I've known since the first time I saw you. You're here in a special capacity, just an inner knowing. I saw that. And Michael says to me, I know how hard you try, but you're going to have to try harder. What he means is he knows how hard I try to hide how different I am. And it's not working. People can still tell. People can still tell. So if I really still want to hide, I'm going to have to try harder. He says, I'm going to have to try harder to hide. I don't want to hide anymore. It's too much effort. It's too much effort. So, if you guys, whoever it was that needed to know about my certification program, it's not the membership that meets every week. This is a 40-hour certification program. 40 hours, and I'm going to make you earn it. 40 hours of your life will belong to the program. It is extremely intensive. You still have time. There's a couple days before this next cycle, and I'll consider having a third cycle. There's going to be no less than 3 levels. You want to reach master level, you're going to have to pass 3 levels. After you've mastered the basics, because that's what's being taught, the basics. By the time you finish cycle 1 or level 1, by the first session, the first class, you'll have surpassed a Reiki master. I'm not fucking around. At the end of the first class, you'll have surpassed a Reiki master. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not joking. You'll have surpassed any of their advanced capabilities in the first class. By the time you reach the end of that third level, you'll have learned enough of the basics to start learning how to extract. That you have to be hand selected. Why? Because I will not lead you to spiritual slaughter. You have to have specific type of coding, and you have to be able to reach specific levels of internal trauma accessing. And if you can do that, if you can show me in the 3 levels that you have that, that means you can safely take on a principality. And after that, there's a level that I won't talk about. Once you reach that level, I won't have to do this work anymore. I can finally just talk and be with people. Because by the time others reach that level, the world will be so different. I won't have to do half the things that I do now. And I don't do them begrudgingly. I do them out of love. But y'all, I'm tired. I'd like to be able to just enjoy people. Enjoy your company. Share space. I already see the difference. After my first cycle became comfortable with defensive posturing, do you guys notice how the fire ceremonies feel different? Do you guys notice how much more peaceful the live streams feel? I can always tell when at least one person from my program is in the comments quietly. I can feel it. How does it feel like? Peace. It feels like peace. It's a very beautiful thing. The classes are typically 2 to 3 hours long once a week. And we keep going till we finish the content, which takes about 40 hours. There's a lot of hands-on type work that we do. Excuse me. There are tests. There's homework. Okay. And it's not busy homework. It's show me you understand how to apply this, not just memorizing. Not just memorizing. I don't care if you can memorize. I want to know what you're going to do with what you memorized. It's a challenging program. And you don't have to know any single bit of energy work for this. As a matter of fact, you are more powerfully positioned if you've never learned any energy work from anyone. Because when I say what they spread is bullshit, when you hear what I teach, it will basically contradict everything you know. And the only reason, the major reason why you will continue to believe me and accept my guidance is you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel what you're doing. 3 levels of 40 hours each. That's 120 hours minimum. Minimum. It's a lot of time. How do you make a decision when your soul is telling you one thing and your family is telling you something different? It depends. Is the decision involving human benefit or soul growth? If it involves me, my purpose, my soul's path, I will listen to soul. Soul is my family. If it involves what I learn and how I grow as a human being only, I'll consider the middle ground between the soul and the family, the human family. Will I ever simply do what my family tells me? Not anymore. Not anymore. I will not take on other people's trauma as my own now. No more. Just no more. So that's how I decide. Are you instructing me based on your own trauma? Or have you grown through trauma and you're holding symposium with me? Sharing of thoughts, ideas, perception, opinions, and giving me the freedom to decide. Because if you're not giving me the freedom to decide, I'm not present for your bullshit. And that's how I will choose to live from now on. You can share your thoughts. I'll hear them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to choose whether I take them in as my truth or not. And that's how it has to be. Okay? That's how it has to be. So if you guys want, Michael says, let you guys feel it. Oh, God. I hate showboaty stuff like this. Let's see. You guys want to feel it? Feel what? I don't know. Michael says to let you feel it. All right. How about this? How about I share with you the feeling of when a Blu-ray comes across another Blu-ray and they finally feel home for the first time. Would you guys like that? Let me play some music. Just breathe very deep and very slow. My energy will always honor your sovereignty. Without permission from your higher self, you won't feel anything at all. I'm syncing our heart rate. For those of you sensitive to energy, you might feel me holding your face and just looking at you. My hand on your heart. I see you. I remember you. You might begin to feel pulsating all around you, like a rhythmic heartbeat. Take that as evidence. I carry you inside my heart always. How do you guys feel? I just know I've lived so many lives. There's no way I haven't lived one with you. I just know it. There's no way I haven't lived at least one life with each of you. There's no way. Everyone that I've lived a life with, I know the way my soul is. I know the way he is. My soul's a man, by the way. My soul's masculine. And when he loves, he carries what he loves in his heart always. Never lets it go. If you felt things, emotions, sensations, that's evidence of recognition. I didn't enter anyone's field. I tapped into whatever life we shared together. And I just allowed us to feel it together for a short moment. I love this. Billy, do you remember what I used to say at the end of live streams before? It's a long time ago. From the deepest depths of my heart's oceans. I love you so very much. You're welcome to allow it to waft for as long as you want. That memory belongs to you as well. So keep it with you. There's nowhere it belongs or has to go or has to be put back into. It's rightfully yours. Carry it with you. Don't ever let it go. Carry it with you. So, guys, I'm going to get going. It's time for me to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Soul Sanctuary live streams. This podcast needed to happen. It's happening with no apologies and no hesitations. Please, guys, when this podcast is done, if you could please comment anything you want me to talk about, anything that you're struggling through, anything you want to share. At no point should this podcast be me lecturing. Take this journey with me. Have conversation with me. Be an equal creator in the experiences we share every week. I'm also going to have, now it makes sense, I'm going to have a subscription membership that has several tiers. The first tier will have an additional exclusive content. The second tier, not only will you have whatever's in the first tier, you'll also have group meditation with me. I'll have to check my schedule to see how often I can do group meditations, live meditations with you. Y'all know I do sound baths, right? Okay, it's going to have that, a sound bath. And you can access the replay. Tier 3, that's going to be a group energetic session monthly, where either we will spend time together to correct what's gone on in your energy. These are not private sessions. This is a group session. I'm capable of working on large groups individually at one time. Yeah. I can work on your energy as though it's just me and you for over 100 people at a time, easily. Easily. That third tier is going to correct so much maintenance. Might be activations, whatever's necessary at that time based on the frequencies and energetic events. This is a huge project. I will still continue to do readings, but I have to find the courage to begin shifting into my actual purpose. And this is the first real step. If I'm here to affect humanity to that degree, it's going to be because I'm inspiring you, not doing it for you. Rest is for humans. My life has balance. It really, truly does. What many people don't know, this is my norm. I can't ever be too exhausted to just live. All of these things that I share, it's my norm. It's my day in and day out. I don't want you guys to be worried that I'm going to be burnt out, because I can't burn out by being me. This is not work. This is living with purpose. This is existing in the way I was designed to exist. I was never programmed, even in childhood, to rest. For much of my life, I've only needed 30 minutes of sleep, if that. And I can stay awake for multiple days at a time, hyperfixated on completing things. And that's not exhausted because I've stayed awake. No, I feel perfectly fine. 30 minutes, sometimes even only 15, and awake for another 2-3 days, completely without any type of caffeine. When I say this is my norm, it's not a line to soothe your fears that I'm overgiving. It truly is my norm. So, guys, it's time to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the first podcast. We're going to be live every Tuesday in the mornings. I'm going to try and get a schedule down, but every Tuesday, I want to say 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And as I get everything situated, uh, I'll begin to try and get everything else ready, like the scheduling for sound baths and group energy work, get the details down of the frequency of how often I could fit that into my schedule. Um, and just, all of that. Um, I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Because I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. Because we about to fuck shit up. I gotta go. I love it. That was such perfect timing. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'm thinking I might just leave the Soul Sanctuary here on the Emmie Evolving channel. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to separate it into a different channel because it's a part of me. It's a component of my evolution. We'll see. We'll see. So, I love you guys from the deepest depths of my heart's oceans.